It's all right.
We got time.
Yeah, we got time.
No hurry.
You say I got the weekend?
He got the camera right behind you.
Never mind.
There we go.
Good morning.
Morning.
Great to be here. First thing, as usual, I'd like to give appreciation just for the fact of being in such a wonderful group of people, being around you, being able to see you every Sunday and throughout the week or whatever. In divine order, of course, it is. My life progressed to this part to where I am right here, right now. And I recognize that, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to recognize and know that that's going on. So without further ado, why are we here? Kind of a question a lot of people always ask throughout the ages and stuff like that. And I listen to a lot of Abraham and, old readings from Edgar Casey and stuff like that. And one of the things that, Abraham talks about is, this being the leading edge of creation, of thought and all of that stuff, right? And so what does that mean? Basically, they're saying that this is where it's at, okay? There's lots of different lives and lots of different things all over the universe that your spirit could be doing, but it chose to be here, okay? And when you think about it, in this 3D physical world that we live in, call it the matrix and illusion and all that kind of stuff, you would think, well, man, we got war, we got famine, we got disease, we got sickness, we got mental this and that and that. Why would anybody want to be doing that, right? When they could be in the spirit just having a good time. Well, when you think about it and you hear all the stories in the past and stuff, how many times have we heard about deities and spirits and gods and stuff coming down here, right? Yeah. There's a reason for that, right? Okay, so this is where it's at, whether you like it or not. You just don't know it. That's the key. And this is some things that I think about this every once in a while. And what came to me a while ago was it's the variety that's here. Okay, so when you're a spirit and stuff, like right now we have us in here that we know and we can see and we can hug and be touched and talk to and all of that, but we know that there's other entities here with us, right? They're enjoying what's going on in here just like we are. They don't get to enjoy it as much as we do, right? They're watching us hug, when we come in, they're like, man, I wish I could do that, right? They probably want to smell flowers, right? But they enjoy some of the stuff, but there's probably that thought that I wish I can enjoy all of it, Maybe they've been here and they're in transition and they're coming back. Maybe they haven't been here yet. A lot of different things. So once again, this is where it's at. So why don't we understand that? Okay? We don't understand that because we're in the deep of it. We're in the thick of it, right? We're on the ground level, and we've forgotten all of that other stuff that's going on. So it's two different worlds, two different things. And how is it that we have forgotten all of that? I think the main thing that I think that keeps us in this place is something that we don't pay attention to, but it's very important to our lives in this physical world that we're enjoying, and that's our senses. Right? Our senses keep us locked into this reality, and it's something I think if you come to think about it and put more effort in the enjoyment of it, then you will come to appreciate it as much as those who want to be where we are at. And I think that's what's going on. So, and where did I get this idea about the senses? I saw a movie a couple of years ago starring Ewan McGregor and Ava Green, two of my favorite actors. I think they're very good. Called Perfect Sense. Anyone heard of that movie? Yeah, very good movie, right? And what happens in the movie is people, the world, all over the whole world, start losing their senses, starting with smell. Okay, now I'm not going to ruin the whole movie for you, but it starts out very soft with a few people, and Ava Green, she's a scientist, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. And a few people turns into thousands, turns into countries, turns into a worldwide epidemic. And they lose smell, and then they lose taste. And Ewan McGregor, he's a chef, so he's got to deal with the fact that when they get to a certain point, they're in a restaurant cooking, and people can't taste the food. So they're having to put all this extra cayenne and pepper and salt and this and that, and just come up with creative ways to get people to taste their food, because they're at a 5-star restaurant, and it's not working. And then the story progresses on, so I'll let you watch it for yourselves and see. But this is where I got the idea about this, because I was, always wondering, why is this, why is this where it's at, and why can't we have a better understanding of our spirits and our true selves and what's really going on beyond us, because we're locked in here by our 5 senses, which the brain is processing, right? So the 5 senses tell us that this is going on, and this is going on, and I see that, so that's going on, and when I eat, I taste that, so then I smell it. So all that together says, yep, this is real. This is all there is, for most people, right? Unless we gain an understanding of things above this. So let's talk about our senses real quick. So I'm going in a certain order. So smell. Just like in the movie, so it's something we take for granted. All of them, all of our senses we take for granted. In here, do we ever think about our sense of smell unless it's first Sunday? Because we walk in, it's that's right. Oh, what did you make? Yeah, what did you? Oh, yeah, that's gonna be good, right? We walk in and we smell it. The boys back there getting it ready, and everybody's bringing it in, and you can't help but smell, right? So at your house as well, whether you cook yourself or someone's cooking, you can't help but smell, when someone's making something really good. Of course, we have other smells too. Smells of nature, smells of someone's body, breath, just all kind of different things that for the most part, we don't notice unless something takes over at that time. Something just, bam, okay, I smell that, I got it, all right? So, like I said, we take for granted that it's there, but it's working all the time. Now, we know that smell works in concert with taste, because we know when we're stuffed up and we can't smell anything, food doesn't taste as good, right? So, the taste is the next one. And that's another one we take for granted, all right? So I was at the senior center this last week, and I was reminding them that, we did a meditation, and then afterwards I was like, I didn't get to see if they did it because I had to leave, but after you do this meditation, I told them, when you eat your lunch, try not to talk, try not to think, just taste your food. How many of us really do that? Okay? This is something we take for granted. We'll sit down to lunch and we'll be on our phones, we'll be talking to our friends, we'll be reading the paper, we'll be doing something, and we've spent good money or we've made good preparations to make that meal, and we don't even enjoy it, do we? We really don't most of the time. Sometimes we do, but sometimes, look how many people go to a 5-star restaurant and they're so busy carrying on business, and they spent $30 on this plate and don't really enjoy it, because they don't really think about that. But if you sit back and you get in that mindfulness state, and you're really, okay, everything's gone, I pay attention to what I'm eating, it tastes so much better. So, once again, we take for granted what we got going on here. And think about it as if there was a spirit right beside you watching over you. Oh, that cheesecake really looks good. Wish I could taste it, That's where they can, we can, right? So next one, sound. And by the way, this order that I'm going in is the same order in the movie that the things kind of left, so you get a taste of that. So sound. Sound is a big one as far as I'm concerned. I think there's so many things in sound. Sound mirrors when we talk about the vibration of our existence, right? Because that's what sound is. It is vibration. You can look at it, we had a big speaker up here, and see the woofer vibrating, and then you would feel it, and you would hear it. Okay. Oh yeah. I should have brought my phone. She thought I brought my Tibetan singing bowl, and I showed them that,
Crazy.
and I'll bring it again, matter of fact, and I'll actually focus on that. But they like that, they enjoy that. The same thing, things that vibrate and give us that sound in our ears. But when we have examples like that, the singing bowl or a big speaker, we can see it. If you open up this piano when Joel was playing and you stare at it, you could actually see those chords vibrating and take an appreciation for that. But at the same time, if you're standing close enough, you touch the piano, you'll feel the vibration. And that's where you get the understanding of that. And that's why I think sound is so important, because what's really going on in all of this is vibration. It's an interpretation of our minds and everything. So I think it's a great one. And then, for me, it's just, I just love listening to music. And lately I got into, I got back into, I watch a lot of, not a lot, but some particular anime from when I was a little kid and stuff. And years ago, I noticed that the music was really good. The music in it was really good. But not just anime, all movies. If you watch a good movie, and there's a really powerful scene that really grabs you and jerks your tears out and all that kind of stuff, pay attention to the music in it. I guarantee you might decide, okay, I need to know that song and I need to take it home, because I do that, There's some music, the DC movies, the Superman and all those movies, what's his name? Zimmer. Forget his first name. His last name is Zimmer. He's the composer. He makes some outstanding music. So as the DC and the Marvel competition, is always talked about, I'm always thinking, well, if he did, Hans Zimmer, if he did music for Marvel, the movies would be even better. But he's on the other team, so. No, I got into, I was visiting some old anime songs that I like from some shows that I like. And I was looking up some composers and stuff like that. Because usually if you find a composer that you like, you'll find a stream of music that's pretty much the same, and you'll like that. And I came up on this one that I didn't know about, and Japanese composer named Yuki Kajura, and she created this group of these three ladies. And it's so amazing because they're so diverse. They have three totally different voices, three totally different looks, the way they act, where they come from. And they sing, and the way she's written the music for them is just phenomenal. And I just can't get enough of it. So I listen to it over and over again, and I'm constantly using my appreciation for the sound. Okay, so, and then the other day, Rosemary was there. We had the concert, a pre-concert for our middle school and high school kids at Lee County, and Connor was there because he was with Valdosta State, so she was there to see him. And so we watched that concert, and it's cool seeing the kids at an early age start music and playing and appreciating it. And then the high school kids got up there to two different levels, and then you saw college bands. So to see the different levels of appreciation for music is always good. But the thing with music that I really like is it's a good reflection of what's going on with our everyday lives. Because, and I mentioned this a couple of speeches ago, how in music you can have this instrument and that instrument, and each of them have their own individual parts. When you put them together in a symphony, they create the music, the song. And that's the thing that's everyone coming together to create something beautiful. And that's what we're doing here as well. So, okay, so sight, the next sense. So sight is the one, once again, we take for granted. We can always see what's going on in front of us, right? We see the colors, we appreciate the colors, we appreciate the variety and everything. I think though the sight though, I think it's, well, with all of them, we use them in conjunction with the other senses to really appreciate them, right? But how many times have we seen that a person who's blind, right? When a person is missing one sense, what happens to the other?
Get stronger.
They get stronger, right? So when we have all ours, we don't appreciate them as much as someone who's missing one or two, right? So that's another thing. So sight is one, in conjunction with the others, especially like sound and stuff like that, so we know that there's Eric right there. He's that far away, and he's looking sharp today. As usual, right? Sight tells us that, and we know to trust it based off of the other senses, okay? Because if we didn't, we wouldn't have that. So the last one we talk about is touch. So normally when people talk about senses, we talk about, usually we probably mention touch, first or something like that. But I put it last for a reason. Because it seems like it might be the most important one. Because if you have, so like I said, we take for granted all our senses. So we're able to hug, we're able to shake hands and see each other and touch this and know this is there. And science tells us things that, well, this podium, the molecules are actually always moving and stuff like that, but they're moving at a slower rate. So science tries to figure out things that some people have known for a long time. But you know, the touch, and then we get to the vibration again. That's what's determining all of this stuff. That's what's making us feel. What about in ourselves, right? So I have my vibration, then I go over and I shake Goey's hand, or I shake Joel's hand, and our vibrations are interlocking, right? We're touching each other, right? And that's a certain feel to it. But then within ourselves, we can feel when our tummy's aching, we can feel when our head hurts, all inside of us. So what happens if we can't do any of that? You know? Probably did. Right. So, because that's unimaginable. That's an unimaginable feeling, right?
Yeah.
To be, I mean, so there are medical, and I forget the words, cases where people have lost a sense of touch, but not completely. All touch is gone. You know, they can still feel a scratch in their throat probably, and things going on in their body if it's out of whack, right? So, but if you have a total loss of touch, or a sense of a feeling, there's probably nothing else left for you to do here, right? So maybe it's time for you to go to the next place at that point. But it seems like touch is, I don't think we think enough about it, we take enough appreciation for that one, okay? That's what makes this whole experience really what it is, I think. All of them together make it what it is, but yeah, without the one that's touch, and once again, we go to, you know, I talked about vibration, it's right there, you know. That's the one, just like I was talking about the piano and the chords and speakers and singing bowl, you feel those things, okay? And then right now you're hearing my voice, but your eardrum is picking it up through a feel. It's vibrating, picking that up through a feel. So touch is very important to us in this experience. So, and then I mentioned before how this is where it's at, right? So what do I mean by that? So, of the uncountable, innumerable spirits and things out throughout the universe, there's 7.5 about billion human beings on this planet. Right? So that's a small number, right? In comparison, infinite number, 7.5 billion. Infinite number, 7. Right? So whether you believe that God put you here, some other higher entity put you here, or your own higher self placed you here on purpose to experience this, there was a reason, okay? You could be an ant in the ant bed right now outside, doing your duty for the queen, right?
Yeah.
You could be a bird singing out, just watching everything from a high, right? You could be a dolphin in the ocean enjoying the water, right? But you're here having this human experience, enjoying all of your senses, smell, taste, sight, sound, and touch, okay? All in concert so that you can enjoy all of the good and the bad, the contrast that makes this the human experience, that the universe is expanding because of. Okay? So this is what Abraham is always talking about. Because we're experiencing things that we don't like, now we know what we do like. And put our concentration into that. Don't worry about the stuff that you don't like so much. Try not to focus on it. Put your thoughts, your prayers, your desires into the things that you really want, and through law of attraction, they will happen. Okay? So that's my message today, is to remember that, you know, we are spiritual beings, and we're here having our human experience on purpose. We put ourselves here so we could do this, and so we could learn for each other, from each other, and with each other. That's the whole point. If we're all living in a hermit in a cave somewhere, then kind of moot point, you know. But we're doing that, and especially in a place like this, in this community, I think this unity church is for me especially, is a godsend. So that's all I have today. Thank you.